Ann and Amy, well, Trump was at Carrier before you, and then a Cincinnati rally as well. And here's what Trump had to say at Carrier about his philosophy, in part, as it pertains to economic policy and where the implications of companies that want to offshore jobs.
We are going to have a situation where they're going to know, number one, we're going to treat them well, and number two, there will be consequences, meaning they'll be taxed very heavily at the border. If they want to leave, fire all their people, leave, make product in different companies, in different countries.
There will be blood if you want to do like Ford and build a small engine assembly plant in Mexico and try and sell those products back into the United States. Jimmy Pethokoukis, friend of ours from American Enterprise Institute, had this assessment of Trump's speech at Carrier.
First, I think this was the worst economic speech by an American politician since 1984. Walter Mondale promised to reverse Reaganomics. I think this is absolutely the worst speech. The idea that American corporations are going to have to try to make business decisions not based on the fact that we've created an ideal environment for economic growth in the United States, but out of fear of punitive actions based on who knows what criteria exactly. From a presidential administration, I think that's absolutely chilling.
Well, let's get another perspective on this, as well as look over those November jobs numbers, 178,000 new jobs, with our friend from Fox Business, Scott Shellady. Scott, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, Dan.
So what about what Pethokoukis had to say about what Trump had to say? Whose camp are you in with respect to the deal they cut for Carrier?
Well, it's a feel-good story, isn't it, for those 1,100 families? So you can't help but smile and feel glad for them. However, he's wading into a pretty sticky situation there, and I think that's what the previous person had to say. That's a dangerous place to go. I'd rather have policy be so cut and dry, and it makes the decision for the CEOs rather than hitting them over the head with a bat.
Well, Rexnord, which is a ball bearing plant, which is a mile down the street from Carrier in Indianapolis, they're losing their jobs. 1,100 people are to jobs in Mexico. So why won't Trump help them next? And they were actually holding signs up saying, stop and talk to our CEO.
Yeah, I saw that too. Well, and here's what I think about that. I mean, make policy make the decision, not the CEO, number one. And number two is, there may be something, there to say that do a deal with all these companies because it might be cheaper than actually having all these people on the dole. I mean, there might be a study done that way. Maybe I'm sure there has been, but you might be able to make that argument that, hey, by doing a deal with all these companies to stay here, making policy make the decision for them rather than a bat, and at the same time that would probably save a lot of money with keeping people off the dole.
Well, here's why I'm confused. On the one hand, you have people, a lot of Trump supporters, excoriating Paul Ryan and other Republicans for propping up the Export-Import Bank, which is just corporate welfare for mostly big corporations. And they're right to do it. I agree with them. The Export-Import Bank should go away. It's an establishment tool. And so the populist base says yes to that, and then they turn around and say yes to Carrier and the special deal for Carrier. So distinguish those two for me. How are they different?
Well, they're not. It's schizophrenic, and a lot of those things. That's not the only time that the base has been schizophrenic. I mean,
right.
I think a lot of times things you're half dozen, the other. It's really difficult to square that circle. And you know what? It's not just the base of Trump voters or whomever. I mean, we've got a situation here with the numbers that we got out today. It's absolutely schizophrenic. I mean, our system is broken.
Well, the unemployment rate fell from 4.9% to 4.6%, lowest since August 2007. What do you think is the real unemployment rate?
Yeah, I get angry when I see these numbers because it's like they think I actually believe them. I mean, we've had 8 million more people since 2008 now are working more than one job. All right, you've got the unemployment rate now well in truly full, quote unquote, full employment area. How do we have negative hourly earnings? A negative change in hourly earnings shrank last month. How if you've got true full employment? And you're bringing these kids out of the basement, off the couch, to go back to work. Yeah. How are we having wages shrink, and how do we have a 2% GDP? Explain that to me. I mean, it's like they don't think that you read the second sentence in the report. You just read the headline, and it makes me angry.
So the 178,000 net new payrolls, the unemployment rate, you take that with a grain of salt in terms of an indicator of American economic health?
It's no longer an indicator, really. I don't think so because, firstly, in my 28 years, I probably said this to you before. 178? That's not my America. I mean, I remember doing this job 20 years ago and looking at a 600,000 print. So we're now suddenly putting the bar way so low, and we still can't meet it. And the revision was bad too. Last month's number they actually took down as well. So we've got bad job growth, really, and we've got everybody saying that 4.6% is great, except we're not making anything, we're not selling anything, and we don't see wages ticking up. If we really had full employment, don't you think there'd be a wage grab, and we'd have to start paying everybody more to do these jobs? It's just not. It just doesn't add up.
All right. He is Scott Shellady, Fox Business contributor.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks for trying to elucidate something that is inexplicable. Scott, appreciate your time as always. Thank you.
All right. See you. Thanks.
I want to pick up on this discussion about what Trump did at Carrier. And I want to offer something Mike Pence said that I find chilling as well, to borrow a word from Jimmy Pethokoukis. The free market has been sorting it out, and America's been losing. That's what Mike Pence said in defense of the Carrier deal. Do you agree with that? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. I know we're in this celebratory period and enjoying the schadenfreude of the left crack up, and I'm enjoying it as much or more than most. But Trump is now promulgating policy, some of which is admittedly consistent with what he said during the campaign. Found it troubling during the campaign. I find it troubling now in practice. And the idea that the free market has been sorting it out and America's been losing. So that means we move away from our market economy so America can win. Isn't that the necessary negative implication of that? And let me remind people what the free market is, because it's an abstraction. And unfortunately, a lot of free market economists and conservatives and Republicans talk in abstractions. You know what the market is? Me and you, Amy.
Right.
It's me and you. It's actual human beings exchanging goods and services.
Yeah.
That's what the
Something we
quote
do
unquote
every
free
day.
market
Yes.
is. So this is not some kind of airy system. This is me and you interacting with one another in a context of voluntary, mutually beneficial exchange. And Mike Pence says America is losing under that regime. So we want American industries or particular businesses within a particular industry to quote unquote win. And winning looks like what? Protecting them from competition, favored status, special
Tax
deals.
exemptions, yeah.
Special deals.
Carrier, $7 million tax exemption over the next 10 years. $7 million. That's enough to maybe want you to change your mind.
Well, I mean,
some jobs here.
and governors and legislatures do the same kind of thing throughout the country. The incentive packages. I mean, that's what tax increment financing districts are, right? Special deals for those who are located in a particular geography, doing a particular business. But that's the path you think to American victory for particular companies or particular industries? Was that the path to protecting the American auto industry in the late 70s, to erect tariffs, to protect them against foreign competition? Did that make the American auto industry leaner and meaner and more efficient and more dynamic? No, of course it had the opposite effect. Boy, oh boy, again, I can't feign surprise because Trump said it during the campaign when he said he would put a 35% tariff on Ford for products they're trying to sell that are made in Mexico back into the United States. So, okay, he's saying what this is what I said during the campaign. This is what people voted for, so I'm going to do it. Understand. Disagree. Your views. Chip in St. Charles, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
America is losing, and it has to do with tax policy. It has to do with the government picking and choosing, who they want to win. It has to do with environmental policy. We can't compete anymore, and it's all of those reasons and more. We've done it to ourselves. We've voted in these people who decided that they're going to manipulate things for global warming reasons instead of business reasons. it's hurting us all.
Well, that's Chip. Thanks for the call. That's fair. And Trump, and to be fair to Trump, there was two prongs of his remarks at Carrier. One was the carrot. We're going to make structural reductions in our tax rates to make it more attractive to do business here and to repatriate capital here, profits here, to attract capital here. And we're going to substantially reduce onerous, redundant, counterproductive regulation. That's fine. That's good. And that's equal across the board. It's the second part. It's the special deal part. It's the mercantilist part that I've got an issue with.
But don't you think there's something that they're not telling us? I mean, Carrier's parent company is United Technology, and they have a $5 billion defense contract with the Pentagon.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
so maybe we're not having full transparency here.
Well,
maybe there's something else going on.
But it's one of those things. They know they have a substantial amount of government contracts, and I'm sure Trump knows that too. Yeah. So it need not be spoken. Okay. But
the elephant in the room.
But I was talking to somebody who's got a lot of very big businesses as clients of his yesterday at this poker tournament for Urban Prep Academy, and saying, look, I'm talking to a lot of CEOs. They're not sure what to do because they're thinking about building facilities overseas. Now they're not sure. Am I going to be the next target? Am I going to get punished? If I stay here, will I get some kind of benefit? The idea of putting in the mind of entrepreneurial capitalists, how can I use government as a sword to inflict punishment on my competitors or a shield to protect myself? That's a bad place to go. You know where you wind up? In Illinois. You want this model of governance scaled? I don't think you do. Dennis in Crystal Lake.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy, put your conspiracy theories away. Hey, Dan, why don't you go down and talk to the people that work at Carrier about your ideas?
Mm-hmm.
And for another thing, when's the last time this country's been a capitalist country? It's constantly not doing the right thing to keep businesses here. So Trump is putting the fear of God into these CEOs that they will do the right thing, and it might get the House and Senate to actually pass a tax bill that's favorable to these corporations.
Okay, Dennis, so let me ask you a question. Well, the tax, structural tax and tax reductions and deregulation, we're not arguing about that. We're on the same page. But let me ask you this. How is what Trump did with Carrier different than Department of Energy grants under Obama for, say, Solyndra, the solar panel company that couldn't make a dime? How is it different than the Export-Import Bank and all the companies that benefit from that corporate welfare?
Hey, Dan, we all know I work in the power generating industry. I've been doing it for 35 years.
Okay.
Any moron who knows anything about it knows that solar and all that other wind garbage isn't going to be able to take effect for 50 years.
Right.
So why give these companies precedent and preferential treatment? Trump basically said, You're going to do business in this country. We're going to help you out. And then we're going to get this tax code changed so other companies don't follow suit.
Yeah, but I don't understand. You're still conceding the point that Carrier's getting preferential treatment. I thought preferential treatment is what you said. Wind and solar companies shouldn't get. So why should Carrier get it?
You can't get preferential treatment if you don't have the people in this country to do what the free market asks. We have no technical schools worth. The only way to get the skills is what I did. I went in the military.
Okay, thanks for the call, Dennis. Darlene in Long Grove.
I did. Look at it from a different point of view. Every time our corporations go to other countries, there are tariffs imposed on the product. So, therefore, if one of our companies is going to build a plant down in another country to get preferential benefits, why shouldn't they be taxed for the product being brought back into the United States? If you go over to China, look at the taxes and tariffs that are imposed on our products and our corporations over there when they try to sell something, unless they build something over there.
Yeah, so because China hurts their consumers, we should hurt ours.
No one says it's going to hurt the consumer.
Well, it is. No, it is.
I disagree.
No, it is.
I disagree. Why? Because we buy product, and when we buy product, it hasn't decreased in price. with everything being made overseas. In fact, a lot of it has increased in price.
Darlene, do businesses pay taxes or do people pay taxes? Do consumers?
Well, they both pay taxes.
No. All taxes are passed on to the consumer. Thanks for the call, Darlene. That's the point. So because there's a couple things here. One, it pays to be preemptively, unilaterally free trade. And you want to get into if trade wars are, I'm going to punish my people, so you punish yours. Remember Bastiat, look at everything through the eye of the consumer, then you're going to make the proper moral decision. So the idea of instigating this, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. One other point. Just, since we're talking about jobs and real people at Carrier, and I'm concerned about them, but they're real people in a lot of sectors. So, for example, there are 12 million real people whose jobs are export driven. A quarter of those employed in the manufacturing sector are real people whose jobs are export driven. And as you understand, if you instigate trade wars, you reduce your exports because you've made them less attractive to consumers in other countries because you're in this, I'm going to increase my tariffs on your products, you're going to increase your tariffs on my products continuum. You don't want to be there. Michael in New Lenox.
Hey, Dan, I historically was a free trader, but where I've changed my mind is I've watched the middle class in Mexico and China burgeon and our middle class hollow out. And it's a wealth transfer. And I think you're arguing apples and oranges, and I'll tell you why. These guys are making money here, selling a product here. I haven't heard anything that Carrier is losing money. So this move to Mexico is a way for management and ownership to transfer essentially wealth from their employees to themselves. There's no need to compete here. There's no need to compete. They are competing, and they are doing just fine. I think Carrier everywhere.
Have you looked at their balance sheets? So this company shouldn't be profit maximizing. No,
I'm sorry, I can't hardly hear you.
Should companies be profit maximizers or not?
I'm sorry, they're making money. Okay, and United Technology is a very profitable company. They are transferring money, the wealth from their working class to their owners. That's what's going on, and that's
thanks for the call, Michael. I mean, tell me more about UT's balance sheets when you actually read them. Here's something else to consider. This from a Wall Street Journal editorial this morning. Mr. Trump's carrier squeeze might even cost more U.S. jobs if it makes CEOs more reluctant to build plants in the U.S. because it would be politically difficult to close them based on changing economic times. It would limit their latitude to make profit-maximizing business decisions. There is no benefit to propping up companies that are not profitable. And it's the height of arrogance, left-wing arrogance, to tell, I know how to better run your company than you do. Here's what Carrier is doing, and here's what you should be doing, says somebody from the outside who's just kind of prosecuting a political or ideological line of attack. The market is people interacting and being held accountable for their decisions. It's when government intervenes that all of that goes away. The interaction is forced and the accountability is obviated. I don't want to go that way.